folks, it's the Red, and welcome to the continuation of the Crash Bandicoot No Damage series. Oh, that's right, folks, we are moving on to the next game, and it's going to be a doozy.
A Universal Interactive Studios production. Developed by Traveler's Tales.
We're continuing the series with my no damage run of...
Crash Bandicoot, the Wrath of Cortex.
That's right, folks, it's time to begin Wrath of Cortex. A lot of people have some mixed thoughts on this game. A lot of people really don't like this one. Me, I think there's a salvageable experience here. There are parts about it that I don't like, but we'll be sure to get into all that as we get to it. But right now, we've got a whole bunch of plot we need to get through. About 6.5 minutes of plot, really, so gonna save some time here and just get right into it. So, I'll see you in a little bit.
Imbeciles! Fools! Nincompoops! Can't you idiots do anything right? According to this, your track record for spreading evil is pathetic. Ooka ooka, it's not our fault that wretched Bandicoot is to blame. I will not let anything stand in the way of evil, especially not a brainless orange marsupial. Crash must be eliminated.
Ooka Ooka, need I remind you that Crash always finds a way to defeat us? Maybe he's just too good for us.
Enough excuses! You 5 idiots need to come up with one good plan! Or else... How do I get into these situations?
There must be something we can come up with. Say, Doctor, haven't you been tinkering with some kind of new secret weapon in your laboratory?
I don't know what you're talking about, Entropy.
Dr. Cortex! I think he's referring to this super secret weapon you've been laboring over day and night since the last time Crash defeated you.
Enough bickering! Do we have a plan? Well, in my scientific endeavors, I've been able to create a genetically advanced super weapon of unbelievable strength. But the power source is the final missing crucial element. Elements. Yes, the elementals. Right, the elementals, that's it. If released, their destructive energy could create enough power to bring my secret weapon to life. We'd have a weapon capable of crushing mountains, demolishing entire cities, and wiping Crash Bandicoot off the face of the earth forever! Get ready to face my wrath, Crash Bandicoot! What's happening? No, it cannot be. Oh, no!
What's going on? Oh no! Crash! Look out!
Is everyone all right? It appears that my evil twin brother Ooka Ooka is up to his no-good tricks again. I must find out what he is planning. I'll meet up with you later.
Hello, my feeble brother.
You have gotten my attention, Ooka Ooka. What kind of diabolical scheme do you and Dr. Cortex have planned this time?
No schemes. Just some old familiar faces dropping by for a visit.
No, not the elementals. Ooka Ooka, why did you release them? Don't you know what happened the last time they were free?
So they were responsible for a few earthquakes, floods, and that little ice age a couple of centuries back. You worry too much, brother.
You cannot restrain them, Ooka Ooka. They are far too dangerous. This could spell disaster for us all.
On the contrary, Aku Aku. spells disaster for you and that precious planet you care so much about. Destroy him!
You won't get away with this.
Who's going to stop us?
Crash, Coco, it is just as I feared. Uka Uka and Dr. Cortex have freed a group of destructive masks known as the Elementals. We must find a way to stop them before they destroy the Earth and all of its inhabitants. The only way to stop the Elementals' destructive nature is to imprison them with the use of ancient crystals. Each elemental can be returned back to their hibernation state with a total of 5 crystals. We must act quickly. Coco, what is the status of the new portal chamber you've been working on?
It's almost finished. A few little adjustments here and there, and it'll be ready to go.
Well done, Coco. This gives us the ideal opportunity to test it. We must hurry.
Okay, all systems are ready and operational.
It's time we evened up the odds in our favor.
Crash Bandicoot, my old nemesis. How the heck are you? Still gathering crystals? Old habits die hard, don't they? My days are being spent on something much more intriguing. Meet Crunch, my newest creation.
This is the creature who keeps sabotaging your master plan? Ha! You gotta be kidding. I'll exterminate this field rat in no time.
Now, Crunch, your time with Crash will come soon enough. Isn't he brilliant? A testament to my true scientific genius. A real Bandicoot warrior. Unlike you, Crash. Oh well, we all make mistakes. Ta-ta for now.
Oh boy, there was a lot to unpack with that cutscene, wasn't there? So, it would seem that their focus now is less on taking over the world and more on destroying Crash. But more on that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and do a cut here in case there are uptakes in this next level, so I'll see you in a minute. Alright, so, let's go ahead and get things started. So here we are in our warp room. You'll see that it's very similar to the one that we had in Crash 3. We've got all the areas here, but of course we can't get to them because of these electric barriers. But, I mean, the other thing I wanted to say is, this warp room that we're in right now is very different from the one that we saw in the cutscene. There we saw, like, some globe thing and a chair, and how did we wind up here? What kind of warp room is... whatever. Let's just go ahead and get to the first level, shall we? So we've got ourselves another set of 5 panels. This time all we have to do is stand on top of the button, and then this little teleporter will take us to the first level, Arctic Antics.
What are you looking at, Fuzz Head? I'm Rocco, the Earth Elemental. Uka Uka and Dr. Cortex woke me from my captive slumber, and now I'm free to pulverize whatever gets in my way. Oh, don't even think about collecting those crystals, Runt. Because if you do, I'm gonna bury you alive.
Here's the loading screen, by the way, if you're playing Wrath of Cortex on the Xbox version. We basically have Crash just falling through cyberspace. It looks pretty cool. Probably my favorite out of all of them, really. And we'll be sure to see the loading screens of the other versions in some later videos when I decide to show those versions. But for now, here's Arctic Antics. It's our first level of the game, so it's not going to be too terribly demanding of the player, and it's a good place to help you get acquainted with the different controls of this game. I find that Crash's controls are a little loose, a little slippery in this game. So it will take some getting used to if you're coming off of this game from the PS1, but you should be able to adjust fairly quickly. Other than that, you're basically operating with standard Crash 2 fare. You run, you jump, you spin, you slide, you do belly flops, all that good stuff. One thing you will find out about this game is that they are a bit on the long side, the levels. I mean, if the box count is any indicator, there's 147 boxes in this level, so it's kind of rare to come across a level that has less than 100 boxes in it, I find. Also, fun little fact about this particular area that we're in right now, you can actually see this spot on the box art of the PS2 version, and there it actually depicts a bunch of holes in the ice. But there are no holes here in the final version, which tells me that the picture on that box art is of a beta version of the game, and that Arctic Antics was actually meant to be played later in the game, so it got shuffled to level 1 for some reason. So that's kind of interesting. And for those wondering, no, you're not really missing much in terms of gameplay by me playing the Xbox version. From what I've seen, the game pretty much plays exactly the same on the PS2 and on the GameCube. But, like I said earlier, I will be doing one part for the PS2 and one part for the GameCube, so we'll be able to see the differences in those versions as well. I do think that this is probably one of the more difficult first levels in the series. Also, a neat little detail about this cave that we're coming up to. First, pay attention to Crash's body slam sound when he's out here. It makes the traditional thump sound. But then when you're in the cave, and then you do the body slam, you can actually hear a little echo effect. Listen. It kind of sounds like you're hitting the ground twice. Yeah, that's the echo effect. I think that's pretty cool. It's interesting because it's not heard in the other two versions of the game. And that's largely why I've decided to go with the Xbox version over the PS2 or GameCube versions, because I feel like the visuals and the sound quality of the Xbox version are better. So I wanted to present this game in the best way that I could. Oh, and I think the lighting effects are a bit better in this version as well. So, yeah. It's basically just presentation reasons that I go with this one. But really, you should get about the same experience regardless of which version you're playing. Got ourselves another slot crate up here. Slot crates, I find, offer a lot more Aku masks in this game than they have in the past, which is always swell. And here's a pretty tricky area if you're trying to get all the boxes. There's several little islands here that you have to jump to if you want to get to all these crates and get your box completion gem. And even a death route over there, as you can see. Well, you can't really see it that well from here, but yeah, that platform over there, that's a death route, and here is a bonus round. So let's go ahead and take care of that, shall we? Another thing I really like about the Xbox version is the level of fur detail on Crash and Coco, and Purah to a degree, actually. It looks very nice. Well, another thing I really like about this is a lot of the graphic improvements. Like, look at this crystal effect when Crash is behind the little crystal thing here. It's really cool. I like the touches, the little touches that they added here. But yeah, it's the first bonus room. You're not going to have too much difficulty here. Not even really any pits here. The only way you could actually lose this is if you blew yourself up with TNT. In which case, shame on you. I think the jump getting to the bonus room was more difficult than the bonus room itself. Just having a little fun here. What's that woolly mammoth even doing there in the water? It's gonna freeze to death or something. Anyway, we're not going to take the death route just yet, for reasons that will make itself apparent momentarily. Go ahead and get that out of the way. Careful as you walk through here, that platform gets more narrow the further down you go. And just up ahead, we're going to have our first crystal. And just like those crystals from earlier, yeah, you can see through this one too. It's a very neat graphical effect, I gotta say. I will definitely give it that, but it's also very transparent, and this can actually be a problem in later levels because, I kid you not, in some of my practice runs, I legitimately wound up missing one of the crystals in one of the underwater levels because I couldn't see it on the background. So, from a design perspective, I kinda don't like it for that reason. Anyway, 147 boxes broken. There's our box completion gem. And we would go through that thing to exit the level, but we still need to go down the death route. And the reason I wanted to hit that, come down here and get that box completion gem first, well, obviously because we wouldn't be able to come back this way, but also, there's a lot of nitro crates on the death route, so if you go and take out the green exclamation box first and then go down the death route, you'll just make your life that much easier. I'll probably go back and show what this route looks like with all the nitros just to give some perspective as to why you would want to do that, but yeah. Because, I mean, otherwise there's barely anything to look out for here. We got a few gaps and some difficult placement enemies. Well, not too difficult, but yeah, here's the first of our colored gems. Ironically enough, the first level of this game and the first level of Crash 2 both have a blue gem in it. Guess it's traditional at this point. From here, we basically just have to work from a top-down view to get to the top of this thing here. Ugh. Having a hard time getting these jumps right. I do find that the camera doesn't really work well with you a lot of the time in this game. But we're going to be seeing just how much more of a problem that's going to be later on. There we go. And here's our alternate exit. Level complete. And so level 1 is finished. There's our crystal, box completion gem, blue gem, and we are all good there. So, not too much to say here. There was a few outtakes. Despite this being the first level, it is a bit lengthy, so we'll have a look at those. And be sure to join us next time for level 2. Tornado Alley. Oh god, it's all... the second level of the game, and it's already a flying level. I can tell this game really just wants me to suffer. So, the first of the flying levels is next time. See you then! So, now let's have a look at the death route, this time with all the nitros still intact. And see if maybe we can challenge ourselves a little bit here. Because, yeah, you can see things look a little more dangerous this time around. Still, you should be able to move between them as long as you're being careful about it. Walking definitely helps out there. Just tilt the stick slowly in one direction. But other than that, you mainly just jump over a few, and then we come to this part where now you need to bounce on some of these crates in order to get across. Of course, we didn't have to worry about this before because the nitros would have just taken them out. And as you could see before, you could just do slide jumps to bypass them entirely, so that's probably the more practical way to do it anyway. Now this one can be a little tricky. You can see there's a couple of nitro crates underneath those other ones, so carefully bounce here. I missed one box, but oh well, we already got that gem, but yeah. You basically just bounce on those boxes, and there you go. We're familiar with this. And we're very familiar with that death animation. Remember it from Crash 1? I do. I do. Can't fault them for it, I suppose. Oh! I saw him spinning. I probably should not have slid into him. Whoops. You run, you jump, you spin, you slide, you belly flop. You go into ice and freeze to death. We all know the drill. Still, it makes me wonder why they didn't think to maybe put the nitro breaking box on this route, but then, oh. But for the most part, you could move between them pretty safely. Never mind. I would do high jump to get past those. Oh, and I missed my jump.